In the opening scene, we are introduced to a star boxer named Jung. He is soon about to turn 17, but is already a prominent name in the national level boxing tournaments. One night after a significant win, he is excited to return home. His mother and little sister are preparing a surprise and cannot wait for him to see it. However, upon reaching home, Jung finds them on the ground covered in blood. Someone attacks him from behind and tries to kill him as well, but being a skilled fighter, Jung takes out his anger on the killer and beats him to death. The scene shifts to 2 years later at a high school. Some guys are listening to the news about Jung's imprisonment. The people he killed were robbers, but since he used his boxing skills on them, it was considered an attack and not self-defense. Hence, the teenager was sent to jail for murder. In front of the class sits a shy and timid kid named Soo-bin. He was heavily bullied in his previous school, which caused him to become socially anxious. But after moving into this one, he has made a few new friends and is getting his life back on track. The teacher arrives and introduces a new student to the class. He is a boxer named Tony, who was the main bully at Soo-bin's former school. Soo-bin shakes in fear at the sight of Tony. All the terrible memories of him crouching down in the dark come back to him. When the teacher is not around, Tony beats up the previous bullies to assert his dominance. He also says hi to Soo-bin and starts hitting him for no reason. A girl speaks up for Soo-bin, pushing the bully away, but in turn, Tony hits her as well. For the first time in his life, Soo-bin stops him, begging him to leave her alone. He regrets it instantly, as Tony is now sure to teach him a lesson. To defend himself, Soo-bin picks up a ballpoint pen from the ground. Tony challenges him to use it, and in a moment of panic, Soo-bin stabs him in the eye. In the following scene, Soo-bin is in court being accused of attempted murder. Because he is too scared to speak out against the bully, he is declared guilty and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. After that, the poor kid is arrested and made to board a bus full of young criminals. Coincidentally, he sits beside Jung and gets on his good side. At the end of the day, all newcomers are assigned to their respective cells. Soo-bin makes friends with a burglar named Min. Both of them are assigned to the same cell, where a guy explains the hierarchy of the inmates. There are 3 main leaders, Jun, Akio, and Han. Jun is the good guy who stops Akio and Han from beating people up for no reason. But recently, Akio and Han teamed up against him and tricked him into being locked in solitary confinement. Since then, they have been ruling the prison, ordering inmates around, and beating up anyone they want. Still, the main dog of the prison is Jung, who everyone respects. He minds his own business and doesn't fight with anyone unless he is provoked. He is the best boxer among the prisoners, which is why even Akio and Han are scared of him. On their first day in prison, Min and Soo-bin are watching a football match between Akio, Han, and their teams. When 2 players get hurt, Han asks the duo to join the game. They do not want to get into any trouble, so they simply join him in the field. Soo-bin hardly moves, which causes Han's team to slack. Scared of being punished, he closes his eyes to kick the ball, but accidentally hits Akio right in the nuts. The bully falls to the ground in pain and is enraged. After recovering, Akio and his minions drag Soo-bin to a secluded area. This reminds him of the time the same thing happened to him at school. He trembles in fear, cries and begs, but no one listens. Suddenly, they come across Jung and act like nothing's wrong. This makes Soo-bin realize that even the bullies are scared of him. When their grip loosens, he runs to Jung and begs him for help. Jung likes to mind his own business most of the time, but seeing Soo-bin beg, he decides to help him. Akio tries retaliating and is punched to the ground in a single blow. Soo-bin, who has never seen someone so fearless, is shocked. The inmates are also schooled in the prison. While in class, Akio doesn't stop staring at Soo-bin, determined to teach him a lesson, since he cannot go against Jung. Just then, a guard asks Soo-bin to come outside to meet a visitor. The visitor is none other than Tony. He has completely lost vision in the eye he was stabbed, which almost ended his boxing career. Moreover, he was suspended from school and is now on the streets with no money. He blames all of this on Soo-bin and cannot wait for him to get out of prison. Soo-bin, on the other hand, apologizes repeatedly, begging him for forgiveness. He is scared to death of facing the bully again, but Tony is adamant about killing him one day. The following day in class, Soo-bin notices Jung training outside through the window. This makes him realize he has 2 years to train if he doesn't want to be killed by Tony. During recess, he goes to Jung and requests him to teach him self-defense. Initially, Jung refuses, afraid that Soo-bin will use the knowledge to be a bully like the others. But Soo-bin explains that he is tired of always being the victim. He is at his breaking point and can no longer run from his fears. The comment makes Yang learn that Soo-bin is only a helpless kid. He knows what it is like to be on the receiving end, which means he won't misuse his strength if trained. Still, to test his endurance, Soo-bin asks him to run 100 laps in 40 minutes. The training will start only if he is able to do so. Determined to prove his worth, Soo-bin starts running and doesn't lose his pace, even though he is not used to it. While he is at it, he remembers how he was insulted, berated, and beaten by Tony and his group. He was so scared that he used to pee his pants as they continually kicked him. The thought of being in that position again gives him the strength to keep going. That is not how cardio works. For the last few laps, he is visibly struggling. Yang asks him to stop, but Soo-bin completes all 100 laps and screams his frustration out. He passes out right after and has to be helped by Yang. The boxer now understands that Soo-bin is really in need of help. Hence, he talks to the prison's warden to shift him to his cell. The man is a fan of Yang from all his boxing matches and knows that he is not a bad person. Hence, he and Soo-bin are allowed to stay in the same cell. In the following scene, Yang prepares Soo-bin for the first day of training. He is asked to do a few push-ups, but his form is so bad that it makes Yang sigh. He registers that he has to be very patient with the kid. In the meantime, Akio is also training and planning to get his hands on Soo-bin when he is not with his boxer bodyguard. His minions say that they should target Min because he used to be friends with Soo-bin. If he can bring Soo-bin away from Yang, they can finally get their way with him. Somewhere else, upon seeing that Soo-bin cannot even do a pull-up, Yang asks him how he has been living life with such a weak body. Soo-bin in turn claims that he is too tired and wants to rest. Yang almost questions if he made a mistake by agreeing to train him. He makes it clear that if Soo-bin wants to take the easy way out, he will be sent back to his cell. This reminds Soo-bin why he is training in the first place, and he continues trying to do the pull-ups. Every day, the number of reps multiply, and Soo-bin struggles to keep up. This is also not how pull-ups work. He thinks he is training too hard, but not until he starts seeing actual changes in his body. During this time, he and Yang develop a true friendship. Outside the prison, Tony frequently gets in fights with the neighborhood thugs. One night, he takes on an entire group of men by himself, catching the attention of a gangster. Impressed by the kid's skills, he offers Tony a position in his gang and a lot of money. At first, Tony refuses, not wanting to be a pawn to anyone. He even insults the gangster and is slapped as a result. The man gives him a last chance to join his gang, where he will be trained and employed at the same time. Tony takes the offer and starts working for him. The following day, in prison, Min and Soo-bin are together during lunch. As they chat, we find out that Yang is turning 18 soon and will be sent to adult prison. After his departure, no one will be there to save Soo-bin from Akio, so he should be extra careful around him. Soo-bin has no idea about this and is disappointed that Yang never told him. Later, he asks Yang if he is actually leaving the jail. Yang affirms and asks him to focus on training instead. Soo-bin was bound to be on his own one day or the other, and it is best for him to start as soon as possible. At the same time, Min is being bullied by two of Akio's minions. They proceed to hit him, but are stopped by Soo-bin midway. The men ask him to look down when he is talking to them. When Soo-bin refuses, they attack him, but he can easily defend himself this time. A while later, Akio finds out what happened and glows red in anger. He asks his minions to get Soo-bin to him one way or the other. The minions are scared of both parties, so they beg Soo-bin to help them. He agrees and comes to meet Akio in his secret hideout. Before the thug can say anything, Soo-bin bows down and asks for forgiveness for hitting his people. He also explains that they hit Min first, which is the only reason he was defending himself. The apology does nothing but infuriate Akio even more. After that, a fight starts between the two, and Soo-bin's progress is evident in his punches. They match in skill and strength, but in the end, Akio knocks him out. Soo-bin is lying on the ground, completely beaten and tired. Everyone thinks the fight is over. That is, until he stands up and gets ready for round 2. He instantly gets the upper hand and throws continuous punches at the opponent. The fight only stops when Yang arrives and stops him. They walk away with pride, making sure no one else messes with Yang again. In the meantime, Tony has been getting recognition as a street fighter. He learns the ruthless ways of gangs and is happy to have found an opportunity to do exactly what he likes. In the following scene, Soo-bin and Yang are training for the last time. Soo-bin is almost able to land a punch on Yang's face. The training is finally complete, and it is also time for Yang to move out. Before leaving, Yang asks Soo-bin if he knows what sharks are like. He elaborates that a shark has to always be on the move, because once it stops, it will sink. He advises Soo-bin to be like a shark and says goodbye. After his departure, Jun is brought out of solitary confinement. In his presence, the bullying is bound to go down. That day, Han challenges Soo-bin to a fight. If Soo-bin wins, he promises to stop troubling anyone in the prison from now on. They decide to meet behind the warehouse in 5 days for the match. Between this time, Tony comes to meet Soo-bin. He has heard the rumor about Soo-bin's training and how strong he has become in the past year. Instead of being worried, he is excited because the fight between the two will be more interesting. In the following scene, Soo-bin and Han are fighting in front of everyone. They are equally skilled, but against Soo-bin's willpower, even Han doesn't last long. Eventually, they are found by the guards and put into solitary confinement. A few days later, they are released. Han accepts his defeat and promises to never hurt anyone, as promised. As time passes, all the leaders start getting along. No more fights occur in the prison, and everyone befriends everyone. This is not how jail works. Somewhere else, Yang is training another man like Soo-bin. When he is about to give up, Yang gives him the example of Soo-bin and keeps him motivated. Finally, 2 years pass and it is time for Soo-bin to be released. Outside, Tony is waiting for him to teach him a final lesson. Soo-bin asks him why he hates him so much, but doesn't get an answer. The last battle starts, and the two struggle to land a single punch on each other. Soon, Tony gets an upper hand and hits him continuously, as he used to when they were in school. When Soo-bin is at his lowest, he remembers Yang's comment about sharks and gets up. With renewed motivation, he attacks the bully and defeats him with a special punch that Yang had taught him. Then, he walks away, leaving an injured Tony behind. In the last scene, Soo-bin goes to meet Yang in prison. Apparently, he saw a resting shark and is starting to question his theory about them. Yang argues the shark must have been dead, and the two laugh together. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.